Hi guys, welcome to lesson 7.4, Factoring Trinomials. So before we get started, this lesson, the notes are going to be on page 5 of your packet. All the way at the top where it says video notes in that box. So before we dive into factoring trinomials, I want to just recall your memory a little bit about what happened when we had two expressions and we were asked to simplify it. So this is not in your packet and you don't need to write this down. I just want you to listen and make sure you remember this. So when we were asked to simplify this or to multiply it, we put the first parentheses on the top of the box and we put the second parentheses on the side of the box and we used our box method to multiply. X times x gave me an x squared. X times 4 gave me a positive 4x. I had a 3x, and then I had a 12. And then we wrote it out, and we combined our like terms. So we had an x squared plus, we combined our like terms here to get a 4 plus a 3, which gave me a 7x, and we also got 12. So I want you kind of to look at the pattern here. I started with a plus 4 and a plus 3. And look at the pattern. When I add plus 3 and plus 4 together, I get 7. When I multiply positive 4 and positive 3, I get 12. So there's some patterns here going on based on my multiplication and addition. And that's what factoring is. Factoring is I'm going to give you the full term like this, and you're going to have to go back to the beginning. So let's take a look at our trinomials. So this is again on page 5 of the packet. A trinomial is something that has 3 terms. So this is going to work anytime I'm given 3 terms. First, I'm going to set up 2 sets of parentheses, and then I'm going to look at the last signs. So let's take a look at example number 1, and we'll walk through these steps. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up 2 parentheses. So here's my 2 parentheses. Next, I'm going to look at the last sign. So the last term. Is the last term positive or negative? Well, in this case, my last term is negative, so I'm dealing with this bullet point. If my last term is negative, they are going to have different signs, meaning one of the parentheses is going to get a positive and one of them is going to get a negative. Next, we're going to factor out the last term and see what subtracts to give me the middle number. So my last term is negative 6, and we're going to write out the factors. So my factors of negative 6 are 1 times 6. And it has to be negative. So negative 1 times 6 or 1 times negative 6. Another factor would be 2 times 3 or 2 times negative 3. Okay, so we want them to multiply to be negative 6. And I also want to, when I combine them, I want them to add together to give me a positive 5. So let's think about this. Negative 1 plus 6 gives me a positive 5. So those are my terms. The 6 gets the positive. The 1 was negative. And then my x squared just gets broken up into x and x. If we were unsure if we did this correctly, we could always check it by going back to my box method. All right, doing x plus 6, x minus 1. Do you have to check it? Absolutely not. But if you're ever unsure, you could always check it, right? And when you check it, you would get common terms. You get 5x minus 6. So that checks out. All right, so for my second example problem, I have 1, 2, 3 terms. So I'm going to set up my 2 parentheses. And now I'm going to look at my last term. So my last term is a positive 21. So is the last term positive? If the last term is positive, then they're going to have the same sign. Well, are they negative or are they positive? The answer comes from this middle term. If this middle term is negative, then both of these are also negative. So now let's think about our factors of 21. So I get 1 times 21. They both need to be negative. 2 doesn't go into 21. 3 times 7 goes into 21. And that's it. So I want them to multiply to positive 21. And I want them to add to negative 10. Well, negative 21 plus 1 gives me negative 22. So that's not going to work. Negative 3 plus negative 7 gives me negative 10. So here are my factors. 1 gets a 3, 1 gets a 7. And then I'm going to look at my first terms. My first term is x to the 4th. If I separate that evenly, I get x squared and x squared. Here is my factored form. And again, if I wanted to, I could check it. That's all the notes for today, guys. In class, we're going to do some more example problems. Thanks.